test, and then the summary that's probably going to be shot like a week from now or 2 weeks from now or whenever I physically see the international version. So, I will list all of the things that I was promised would change, all the things that I would like changed that would be nicer in the future, and yeah. So this is my pre-summary summary and also pre-typing test summary. So as of today, it is December 11th. Vertex was supposed to get in the new international protos this coming week. However, due to COVID and nonsense and problems and all of that, he is not getting it. So why does that matter, Simon? Why are you waiting for it? Well, the board that I have here is the Chinese version, and the Chinese version had some issues. Issue number one, I did not like the daughter board that was used, and mine came with a problem. That problem being it only worked with the USB cable one way. So Vertex has promised that the daughter board will be changed to AI03's unified daughter board design. Additionally, the daughter board channel, so the JST channel, right, was a little bit too thin, and either the cable needs to be thinner or the channel needs to be wider in order to allow less experienced builders to not mess it up, right? So when it's all put down together, the PCB isn't slapping the bottom of the JST because it's misaligned. That was issue number two, okay? Issue number three was all of the foam that was required to put it together. So previously, if I wanted that thing that helps keep the plate and PCB aligned, it was an entire piece that went between the plate and the PCB through all the switches. So it was sub-plate foam across the board. And I am not a foam enjoyer. I am not. With a board like this, especially a board like this at the price point that it's going to be at, filling it with foam is pointless. It's pointless. It's like putting stickers on your Ferrari. It's terrible. At this price point, you should enjoy the natural sound profile of the board. If you don't like this natural sound profile of the board, do not go out and buy, well, we don't know what the price will be, but I know that the Chinese price for this was about $500, and the international run might be $550, might be $580, might be even $600. And at $600, assuming all the changes are made, I'm kind of okay with it because the small attention to details are there, okay? The few final issues that I had with it was little gunk on the screws, which literally only annoys me and nobody else. It comes with extra screws, so that's not a problem. And hopefully they'll clean them out more thoroughly. It would be nice. The last thing, obviously, for me that I'm not a fan of is, you know, the huge, expensive series of boxes. I know that's probably not going to change. I would love to at least have the option for a hard case instead of giving me, you know, literally a kilo of boxes. At least give me a hard case so I can take this to the office and back, because this is a heavy freaking keyboard. This is nearly 2,800 grams, so it's rough. All right. And then what else did we have for the changes? Vertex said he would improve the acoustics. That could literally mean anything. That could mean an additional small little weight that goes up here. That could mean making the weight down here smaller. It could mean moving the weight. It could mean changing materials. It could mean drilling holes into it. I don't know. I have yet to see it. He says he will make improvements. For me, that is not at all necessary. Okay. I think the sound profile of this board is unique, but not bad. I have heard bad sounding boards. This is not a bad sounding board. Now keep in mind, this board was meant to be put together with a whole bunch of foam. And I use no foam. And I actually like how it sounds. And I do like how it feels. So after this, I'm going to roll the typing test. After the typing test, I will be doing my final summary. I'll probably have a longer beard and sadder eyes, because it'll probably be like a month from today where I'm shooting this. At that point, if this board has the improvements that I expect, then I will give it a strong recommendation. I will. Just because of the fact that it's very rare when you reach out to a maker and you tell them, hey, this needs work, and they fix it. So a maker actually caring about a review, because there is a review and there is a showcase. A review, I don't have a keyboard plugged in, but a review is basically an assessment of something in order to make changes and, like, tell your criticisms about it. A review is meant to make things better, but a lot of makers will treat, reviewers and reviews as just showcases, like, here, show the board. That's not what I'm interested in, and you guys know that. The people that watch me, you guys know that's not my deal. But the fact that Vertex has just been on top of it is something I really, really like. So I'm going to come back in the future, and if he kept all of his promises, I'm going to give this a fantastic score. And if they didn't make the changes, then I'm going to shit on it. So I'll see you guys in hopefully a couple weeks for me, and hopefully like 2 minutes for you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thockers. I shot my my Chinese Angle review in December of 2021. It is now Thocctober 2nd of 2022. And it's time for me to cover the international version, which I thought I was going to get like a month later. To be fair, I've had the board for a while. It's just taking me a while to get to this review. So I've got two angles. These boys are heavy. They're like almost 3 kilos each. All right, let's talk about the changes. So if you skipped the recap section of this video, go back and watch it. Because either you're going to have to watch that or you're going to have to watch my entire 1 hour and 31 minute long original review of the Chinese Angle. This will be a comparative review. So anything that has not changed, I'm not going to talk about it. And a lot of things have not changed, okay? But not in a bad way. So when we recapped it, we talked about the changes that were required, okay? The changes that were required were daughterboard was a little finicky, cable channel could use some work, foam was required for the build, and as such led to a floating plate where your plate can go left and right. By the way, that's been resolved. Screw gunk, which was just a minor inconvenience, but we'll check that out. Potential packaging changes. There was no packaging change. It's still the same packaging. Improved acoustics. And of course, the floating plate fixed. So from a outside perspective, the board is identical. Now, the unit that I have here, for the record, this is the production version. This is not a pre-production prototype. This is like an actual group buy unit. Mine's shipped very early. This one here has a standard brass weight, whereas my original Chinese version had a PVD brass weight. Does it matter? No. But pretty much everything is the same, at least externally, okay? Generally, in the beginning of my YouTube videos, I show you B-roll, but literally it's the same. Just check out the B-roll from the original one. It was very, very spicy. All right. Now, before opening it up, we're going to tackle this in a logical manner, okay? We're going to start with the case exterior. So, I guess let's do that. Okay, so in the exterior of the case, nothing has changed, but let's check out the improved acoustics. So the previous problem that we had on the old Angle, which is this one here, the issue that we had was as you got towards the front of the board, your keys sounded deeper, which is very counterintuitive for a keyboard because normally it's supposed to get a little bit thinner sounding as you get towards the bottom. They've fixed this. I have no idea how they've fixed this. Okay, but before I go into all of this, I just want to say every single problem I had was addressed. This board here, the international version, is basically everything I wanted out of the Chinese version. So if you are on the fence and you're thinking about it and your finger's like right on the checkout button and you need to like buy it right now, just buy it. It's a fantastic keyboard. All the issues have been changed. So let's start with the acoustics first. Now,
you kind of have to hear it to believe it. So that's what we'll do. Let me get my little microphones in on it. Okay. I'm not going to do a full typing test. I'm just going to do a comparative test. This one might sound further away because it is further away, but this is the best I can do. All right. All right. Now, you may have picked up on a few small things. The bottom row sound has not changed at all, okay? The bottom row still sounds identical to the previous bottom row. A bottom row should sound nice and deep. It does. Fantastic. Generally what happened with the previous build is there was a weird like depth from this. Not your bottom row, but your bottom alpha row, which sounded a lot deeper than it should have sounded. Whereas on the new version, it sounds a little bit more consistent. For the record, I built using the exact same switches, stock Gateron Pros. I put on the same exact keycaps, CRP round 4. So it should be as much of an apples to apples comparison as possible. There are some outliers, notably the enter, though I am fairly certain that is my build. I've done my best to make these sound as close as possible to each other, but there is build variance. And honestly, if I cared more, I would have done it. But in general, I just wanted to use this keyboard because it's a nice freaking board. So basically the change was here in the bottom alpha row, and there is a minor change around here where the JST cable channel is, which we'll check out once we're inside the board. Okay, so on the old one, there was some sort of weirdness here where you could kind of hear the cable channel, whereas now it's kind of been smoothed out, which is quite nice. Now, one of the major differences between the Chinese and the international buys, the international buy had matrix finishing options. This right here is matrix starry. That is the wrong button. I apologize. It's been a while since I've made an actual review. All right, so let me show you something. So this is matrix starry. That is the original angle. They're identical, same angle, same everything. Angle. But this is a nice little matrix finish right there. It's pretty cool. The edges are the same, the bezels are the same, the chamfers are the same, literally everything is the same. It's the same board. It's the same board, just better in every single way. So we'll open it up and see what's going on. While we're doing that, some of you may ask, oh, but Simon, the weight is slightly different. That's why yours sounds different. So I did this off camera because it took so much time. But off camera, I basically swapped the weights and made sure that the weight was not what was actually affecting the sound. And I was correct. The weight was not what was actually affecting the sound. Here's the part of the video where I struggle to find the thing that fits in the hole. If you enjoy struggling to fit it in the whole content, consider subscribing to this channel, because boy do we struggle. Okay, I've tried you already. Why am I trying you again? Fun fact, or pro tip, if you actually organize your desk, you can probably find things, you know? I know. Oh, it's right there. Never mind. We got it. All right, so let's open it up. I waited ages for this, and the reason why I waited ages for this, by the way, we're going to check out these screws. That's on the list. The reason why I waited ages for this is I was supposed to get a pre-production prototype, which a couple other streamers got. But in the end, they were just like, listen, we're just going to ship you a production unit. So like as soon as we have group buy units, we'll send them to you. And they did. They did. As is customary, generally I don't take review units for free. And by generally, I mean I never take review units for free. So what I did is I purchased another production unit and I gave that away to basically make it so I paid for a unit. So screws feel basically the same. We will compare them though. We were specifically looking for how clean the threads are, or the screw tabs essentially. Because on the original one, I noticed there was a little bit of gunk on it, and I know that like it matters to literally nobody but me, but like it just tells me that the maker just cares that little bit more. So let's very quickly have a look at the screws. So here's some screws. Let's check them out, see if there's any gunk at the tip. They look relatively clean actually. There's one outlier, that one. You can see a little bit of gunk there at the tip, or you can see some discoloration right there. But that's not necessarily gunk. That looks like the plating of the screw is wearing off. Let's take a look at some of the others. No, they look good. They look good. The original ones like really had some gunk in there. It was some sort of, I forget what it was. It was like some sort of rubber glue that they put in the holes to essentially make it so none of the anodization would actually make its way into the threads, which is a really good thing to do. They just didn't clean it out so great afterwards. Originally, I thought it was Loctite or something. Here's an original screw for reference. Like this has, come on, there we go. This has proper gunk. You see all that gunk there at the tip, and my autofocus struggling. That's a gunky tip. So yes, large improvement. Large improvement. Like I was concerned I was gonna mix these screws up, but no, these ones are very gunky. So I mean, while we're looking at the external case, like realistically, no change to the external case, which is really interesting because there have been a lot of changes to the internal case. Because you guys can hear the difference, right? But you may notice that the weight placement is exactly the same. So how do you affect the row sound of a board without moving or like completely changing the weight? I have no idea. I have no idea what they've done, but we can check out the internals and see what's going on. Okay, let's go. I am going to get the tops off just so we can have a look at the tops. I forgot a screw. I did not forget a screw. Okay, I guess we just wiggle. Okay, there we go. Here's the old top. There's the new top. All right, let's make a little bit of space and just check out the tops first. All right, from the outside, pretty much identical. You guys may notice that like on my new version here, the international version, the little crystal thingy, the sodium pentothal, whatever it is, crystal is a little bit different. They differ in color, so it's all good. So let's flip it over, see if there's any changes. There basically is not. Basically, it's identical. Same support structure here and here, same support structures here, same screw mount points. Literally no change, which is good. That's fine. There was no change needed. So let's get the tops out of here and see where the actual change has been made. All right, so we got our old angle, we got our new angle, and for the record, the plate is identical. Minor changes. There was a little bit of engraving here on the new version. On the old version, it's over here, but essentially the plate itself is the same. All right. Let's get this cable out. Do the same over here. All right. So plates identical, PCBs identical. There may have been some very, very minor revisions. I can tell that this one here, the old version, uses a much larger MCU than this one, but I assume both of them are 32U4s. Yep. Yeah, they are. So there's just a big one and a small one. And due to MCU availability, it makes sense to just buy whatever's available. So from a plate, from a mount perspective, from a PCB perspective, no difference. And I know it seems like I might be going fast, but again, I spent like an hour and 30 minutes on the original angle review, so I'm not going to explain things twice. All right, now let's look at the bottom. The bottom is where all the good stuff is going on, okay? So, old version, new version, okay? What are the first things that we see? Well, we see these weird things here in the corners. What is that? What's this? What's all this? Well, let's have a look. This is a support pillar. It looks like a piece of plastic covered with rubber. I can't really identify what the plastic is. It's probably Delrin or Palm, and it's covered by a little piece of rubber. But why? Why is this? Why this? Why is this here? This serves as the plate alignment pillars. Now, the original version had essentially a full piece of foam that went in between the plate and the PCB that had little things sticking out that would align the plate so it doesn't like shift around. But that required using a big old piece of foam. This doesn't require using a big old piece of foam. However, this requires that you literally put an object in there that is technically going to rub against your plate. So I was really hesitant when I got these. And I tried it out. And they did the job without doing what I thought they would do. I thought what they would do is make it feel like my plate is rubbing on something. They did not. I don't know how they did it, but it works. It absolutely works. And I've had other people type on this and they've had the same response. So I'm not crazy. Okay? So let's go down the checklist. Okay? From an acoustics perspective, I have no idea what they've done. But what they have done visually is the daughter board mount is smaller. The JST channel that was kind of difficult to deal with because sometimes you wouldn't get the cable in there and it would stick out and then like it would really interfere. They've done that by stripping the heat shrink lower. And the cable channel itself is now angular instead of just straight. And there's a little bit of wiggle room. So it's a lot easier to actually get the cable in there, which is amazing. Those are all things I asked for. The original daughter board I had a little bit of a problem in which just to be honest, it was not a good daughter board, all right? So they said for the international version, they would swap to a AI03 daughter board. So let's check that out. All right, so let's take off the daughter board cover, and there is a Vertex branded daughter board. Okay, focusing is hard when it's shiny. Also, nice lamp. So it's just a standard Vertex daughter board. Nothing crazy going on. I can see like the solder connections of the USB-C cable and it's USB-C port, and it's not great. Let's check out the international version. Let's see what they've done here. Hey, look at that. It's an AI03 unified daughter board design. Very small. Obviously, if you missed the first video, the reason why we cover the daughter board is because if you have a big open space on the bottom of your board, when you hit a key, you're going to hear that reverb. So it's in your best interest to kind of cover it up. Now, generally, something like this, like a nice wide daughter board channel, will cause a similar effect, but I did not notice that acoustically on this build. How? No idea. But actually no effect. So, daughter board, changed. Cable channel, changed. Required foam, changed. Screw gunk, changed. Improved acoustics, yeah, they normalized it a lot. And the floating plate has been fixed. Every single one of my requests was fixed, except for the packaging, which I complained about. It's still over the top crazy packaging, but to be fair, the international version is literally cheaper than the Chinese version. So at that point, I can't complain. I expected the international version, as they tend to be a lot more expensive than the Chinese version. The Chinese version was about $440. The international started at like $441. So, I mean, technically it was like $1 more. But yeah, anyway, I will show you how the plate interacts and what these little support pillars actually do. And after that, we'll do a typing test, go into the recap, and then that's it. So here's our original version. Now keep in mind, I don't have a top case on, but the idea is there is nothing keeping this plate from just going everywhere. There really isn't. There's nothing. Even when it's sandwiched between the top and bottom, it just floats. Okay. However, with the new, I don't know what we're gonna call these, like alignment pillars. I guess we're just gonna call them alignment pillars. Okay. So with these new alignment pillars, which yes, take an extra step. It moves a little bit left and right because there's no case on it. But like here, I can actually hit the case sides with the plate. You hear that, right? Whereas like I'm moving the whole keyboard, but the plate is not contacting the case interiors, meaning mission accomplished. And from a feel perspective, they feel identical. It does not detract from the bounce. It does not feel like anything is rubbing on anything. They've honestly done a good job. Like honestly, in my first video, where I talked about like one of the major like the opposite of a selling point, one of the major like concerns about this board, is that it was from a maker that nobody knew. Nobody knows Vertex, but it was such a good board, and it's still such a good board. And having a maker actually listen to like critique and fix everything is amazing. So yeah, I'm going to just put it all together off screen. We'll do a typing test, then I'll give you my summary, and then that's it. Hopefully I didn't miss anything, but I went through the checklist of all the things I was looking for, and the mad lads, they did it. So enjoy this typing test. All right. All right. It's summary time. Let's do some summarizing. This is the International Angle. It's a nice keyboard. It fixes all the things that I wanted fixed from the Chinese Angle. They did it at the same price. It has matrix coding. It has a lot of things. All right, listen. It's very, very clear that like this was like a very large success. They did a super good job, and I don't know what else to say. I said it in my original video, but like the makers that I care about are makers that will actually listen to input, make changes, and then refine their product and actually listen to the people that care. And I said in my first video that typing on the Angle is a very satisfying but very subtle typing experience. Sure, it's very bouncy, but like you don't really worry about the bounce when you're typing on it. It kind of just like melds into one, like, driving, a nice comfy luxury car, or like having a nice pair of headphones. They kind of just blend into the background and you don't realize how good it is until you have to basically use something else. So, yeah, I mean, realistically, if I had to only keep 5 keyboards, this would be on the list of 5 as like the bouncy one. Like literally this over the F1. Then again, we'll wait for the F1 V2 and see what's going on. I don't know what else to say. It's good keyboards. And you can trust me when I say that because, I don't know, because I'm Simon. I'm not going to lie to you because I have better shit to do. Anyway, thank you for watching my YouTube video series that has now lasted like 10 months. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my spout. When I get all steamed up, hear me shout. Tip me over, thock me out.